Everyone, welcome to Grid Live pre-race for the Monaco Grand Prix Formula One's Crown Jewel event and the Crown Jewel race weekend with the Indy 500, Coca-Cola 600, three separate Grid Live shows. The first one of the weekend, and I have Mara Piacentone joining me today. Mara, good to see you. I know it's been a while, and of course, a big thank you to our Patreon investors calling the show Mark, Robin, David, and Matthew for investing in the Grid Network each and every month. You too can invest in the Grid Network through Patreon. Link in the video description. And also buy me a coffee, YouTube Super Chat. Leaderboard tied up Amber J up to 5 cups of coffee with a cup of coffee on Wednesday's Grid tonight. Plus Matthew Owens up to 4 and a day in the life making a contribution as well too. So get your name on the leaderboard and of course subscribe. Hit the bell icon, like all of our videos, participate in the chat room, leave a comment if you're watching one of our clips, and follow us, Grid Network TV, across social media, and of course, follow our Grid Network team on their social media platform as well. And Mara, this is the big weekend for everyone. I know for you, everyone back in Italy, a big weekend because Monaco, home race was Charles Leclerc. He led every practice session. A lot of people anticipate he might get the pole, but the McLarens were going to be hard to beat. Last year, he broke the curse. He got to win on Monaco. With 19 seconds left in Q3, he took the pole. We heard the cheer from the crowd, but with 4 seconds remaining, Lando Norris, 1 minute, 9 second lap, new track record, snatches the pole from Charles Leclerc, but Charles Leclerc is still, of course, starting second in the race, which people have won from second. But when it comes to that first corner, you got Lando Norris in the inside, Charles Leclerc on the outside. Who has the advantage entering turn one at the start of the race?
Yeah. Hello, first of all. And what a great lap of Lando Norris. So that was incredible. Still, I would say Norris. It's clear to everyone that McLaren allows him to drive at his best. While the Ferrari is not helping Leclerc. So when in some turns, it looked like he's forcing the car to do what he needs. Therefore, I think that Norris would have an advantage.
I do agree. I think Norris will have that advantage entering the first corner just because you have the inside line. For Charles Leclerc, I think it's going to be a little bit tricky. Not only are you on the outside line, you know Oscar Piastri is going to try to fill the gap if there is one, follow Lando Norris, take second. It's just going to be a matter of he needs to have that great start and have a little bit of hope. Lando Norris has a wheel spin, doesn't have that great of a start. Of course, Max Verstappen, he's going to be right behind all of this. Max Verstappen, the winner from the last race weekend over at Imola, qualified fifth, so he is behind essentially the driver of Lewis Hamilton in fourth, Oscar Piastri in third. But we did see at one point Hamilton did impede Max Verstappen on a quick lap at the top of the hill coming out of Rasgas. Now, no word on a penalty for Lewis Hamilton yet as we're on the air. But we've seen in the past the stewards, if they think you have impeded somebody, you get a 3-place grid penalty. That'll be bad for Lewis, but of course for Verstappen, potentially fourth on the grid. That's his second row rather than the third row. So Mara, do you believe Verstappen could go for the win, try to make it 2 wins in a row? Especially if he's handed fourth place, if assuming we get a penalty for Hamilton.
I do not think that it will be a game changer for Verstappen. Honestly, I do not see even such a big impeding as well from Hamilton. So I do not think that he will be penalized. Anyhow, I do not think that Verstappen can go for the win tomorrow unless big events can happen or a great strategy can be done by Red Bull. there are too many good cars and drivers in front of him.
Yeah, with the McLarens, the Ferraris, right now, still no update on any potential penalty. So I'm thinking the longer it goes, the less likely it's going to be the case. I think it's going to be one of those deals where Verstappen in fifth, he's going to be maybe trying to get a podium, but I just do not see a win in the cards for him. And with that, if a penalty does come or not, huge. If he's fourth, that means he's alongside Piastri. But right now, he's third row behind Oscar Piastri. So if he's going to be behind Oscar Piastri, that means he's going to be the inside. And that will be, of course, as we sort of mentioned, a big advantage, being on the inside closest to the pit wall exit and the inside of that first chicane. This leaves him the option, Oscar Piastri, to skip the chicane in case there's trouble ahead, contact or potential crash. So, with Norris and Leclerc starting ahead of Oscar Piastri, you got Lewis on the outside most likely, and then Max Verstappen behind you. Is Piastri in the best spot entering the first corner of the race?
uh, so uh, Monaco is too narrow and for these big cars. So I don't think that he will run for a crash tomorrow. He's the championship leader. He wants points. Um, so why risk it in the first corner of the race? Honestly, considering that he's a very smart guy, um, he's calculating everything. No, I don't think that he will risk it at the first corner of such a long Grand Prix.
A very long Grand Prix, as you say, and one of the big things I think is very key for Oscar Piastri, as you point out, very calculating. I've been really impressed with how people are comparing him to Kimi Räikkönen when he was with McLaren. Just going out there doing what he needs to do. And I think at that start, regardless of what's going on with Charles Leclerc and Lando Norris, his big goal is okay, try to tuck behind Lando Norris entering that first corner. So that way, if Charles Leclerc's on the outside, he could try to snatch second place. If he does see, like, okay, those two are starting to get a little too crazy, or if for some reason Lando has a poor start, I could see him maybe try to skip the chicane, but overall, that'll be gaining an advantage. Of course, he'll have to give up those positions, but being the points leader, I think he's going to play it safe. He knows you cannot win the race on that first lap, first corner, but he could certainly lose it, and I think he'll know better than try to risk it too hard entering that first corner and going for a move that will not work. As you said, he's got a good enough lead, 16 points. He knows even if Lando Norris was to get the win and he finished second, even third, his lead will still be there. I do not see him. He knows that the leadership at McLaren, especially Zach Brown, wants wins. They want trophies. A 1-2 finish will be great for them at Monaco. That's, I think, the team game is going to be a little bit more visible this weekend compared to other weekends. But this weekend, Monaco, there's some challenges. Of course, last race time we had a race show here, Nicole was on the air with us. She had mentioned that there's a lot of rookies. And of course, when you look at the starting grid and all the rookies, Franco Colapinto, yes, he did some races, but first time in Monaco. We got Oliver Behrman, first race in Monaco. Gabriel Borratello, Kimi Antonelli, and then towards the top is where you will find the Racing Bull drivers of Isaac Hajar and Liam Lawson. Both of them get into Q3. This track is tight. No room for mistakes, no room for errors. You could even be doing your own race, and then the car ahead of you gets crashes for some reason, and you got nowhere to go, and you're in the crash. So, knowing all these factors, do you anticipate the teams have strategies for a potential race that there is no safety car, is caution free, and then multiple scenarios if we have safety cars more than a normal race weekend where we might have one or two? Because here, I think we could have even more, three, maybe four, depending on what happens.
Yeah, yeah, totally. I think that we will see some safety cars, and teams will differentiate the strategies. There are, although, so many variables here in Monaco that probably teams cannot even consider them all. So there might be virtual safety cars and regular safety cars. So really, the race can be stopped. It might arrive some rain because tomorrow it's cloudy. So really, let's see. Plus, we have this two pit stop rule. Let's see, because everything can really happen.
You brought up really great points, especially virtual safety cars, maybe even the red flag. That could be game changing if we're in the first round of pit stops, a car stays out while the leaders are coming in, and then the red flag comes in. And of course, in the red flag, everyone gets to change tires. So if you didn't stop, you get a free pit stop essentially. Can you imagine if a team like Alex Albon happened to not stop and finds himself in that scenario leading and the red flag comes out? That could be massive towards a podium finish. It'll be a challenge to hold off everybody, but with now as this track is, a lot of potential for spoilers, and I think everybody has to be mindful of, okay, where are the rookies? Where are the potential drivers that could cause an incident? I hate to say it, Lance Stroll nearly caused an incident qualifying. He got a penalty. With the rookies, mistakes are bound to happen. It's going to be very interesting to see what happens, how the top five drivers, especially as we go through them with Norris, Leclerc, Piastri, Hamilton, and Verstappen, how they are all running, who pits first, the undercut, the overcut, which one will be really good, and so much unknowns, and especially if you're the Mercedes team, you're hoping we get something crazy because qualifying today was disastrous for that team. Kimi Antonelli crashed at the end of Q1, so he could not participate in Q2. He'll be 15th, which, let's be honest, you're not likely going to win. Only once the winner has come from outside the top 10. That was Oliver Panis back in 1994 when he started 14th. Ironically, 14th is where George Russell is starting. His car rolled to a stop at the top of the hill. He managed to coast all the way down to the tunnel, but at the start of Q2, he was done for, so he's stuck in 14th, teammate in 15th. Both Mercedes are likely out of winning contention unless we get a good time red flag and they were in the lead or some craziness. Podium contentions, though, I don't know. Do you think either drivers could contend for the points, or will it be a long day for the two Mercedes drivers?
I agree with you that it was a total disaster for them. They can probably aim for points, considering that I'm pretty sure there will be safety cars, and every team is obliged to do the two stops. So they can work with strategy and maybe ask for some luck. But here, in Italy, the press says that probably Antonelli could stop like at the first turn, so immediately, and leave and go to the back, so then he can rejoin while the others are stopping the first time. So really can be strategies can play a really big thing tomorrow.
I think strategy, like you say, is going to be a big factor tomorrow for the Mercedes team. they really, I think, are going to benefit if they see potential caution flag come in a safety car period. Where are they on the track? Who's the closest to pit road? Do they think we're going to get a safety car or virtual safety car? Bring the driver in. If they see something major and they anticipate a red flag, really is going to come down to where they're positioned on the track for strategy. There's just so many factors, and I think this is going to add a lot to Mercedes play. I think almost overwhelmed them a little bit too much, where you have so many variables. You're going to have different opinions when it comes to Toto Wolff, the race strategist, the folks in the back. I think they really got to make sure they don't overwhelm themselves with all the different scenarios. Just manage the race lap by lap, keep an eye on what's going on as things unfold, then start making the different strategy calls. But it's going to be a very big, very hard task for them and for all the teams because, as you pointed out, Mara, this year we have a twist to the race. Every driver, every car, mandatory to stop, so they have to pit twice. Now, a few weeks ago, we saw IndyCar in the Indianapolis Grand Prix, the road course race, make a rule to force teams to stop more often. Essentially, they had to do 3 stops. Mixed reviews. Some people liked that strategy element because they had to go through more tires. Some didn't like it. It didn't really change the race up that much, but I mean, for the strategy, we saw different strategies. Here in Monaco, we've seen it's been one stop, that's it, and what people call a procession, almost a parade. Do you anticipate this new strategy of 2 stops? Because, as you said, a team could pit right away. Do you think it will make a drastic change with the Monaco Grand Prix, or do you think we'll see more of the same Monaco we always see every year?
So I don't think there will be a drastic change, but this rule will spice up the race. So I'm in favor of this change. Having a one-stop race was extremely boring, and all the teams were playing safe. So I'm actually looking forward to see 2 pit stops for each team. Also because the pit stop lane here is very, very narrow, strict. So you cannot consider to do many both cars stopping at the same time. So you really need to think about the strategy, and I think that it will be interesting to see.
What I'm really curious about, especially taking a look at the starting grid, you got some drivers with penalties. Oliver Berman, Lance Stroll, that's why they have that little asterisk by their name. Still no word on any penalties for Lewis Hamilton, so I think it's more likely Lewis Hamilton will retain 4th in the starting grid, not have a penalty. I think what you're going to see potentially is, as you said, a driver like Kimi Antonelli, or maybe even George Russell. They know they have a fast car. You do not want to be stuck in traffic. Like you said, Mara, come in early, right away, make that first pit stop. You got clean air, fresh tires, just sort of manage everything. And then as the others come in for their pit stops, jump them, get around, and you got that made. I'll be really curious. The tire choice, maybe they go on the mediums. That would be my assumption. Or they go hard and then hope for a safety car or something and then switch to softs towards the end. A lot of variables. I'm pretty excited. I think it could shake it up a bit, but I think for the most part, between the pit stop runs, I think we might see the Monaco we anticipate, just in a matter of when somebody pits, when a safety car comes out. I think that's where we could see most of the change up this year. And of course, speaking about change up, at least for a lot of folks here in the United States, Monaco has always been the first race of a big race weekend. You have the Monaco Grand Prix. We always call breakfast on Monaco, lunch at Indianapolis for the Indianapolis 500, and dinner at Charlotte for the Coca-Cola 600. So for a lot of American fans and fans around the world, this is sort of a big day of racing. This year we also got MotoGP during Silverstone. But next year, Monaco is going to move to a different date. So we will only have in the Indy 500 Coke 600 on the same day, Monaco on a different race weekend. Some fans are pretty disappointed. I'll be honest, I'm sad that's going to change. I love the three races on the same day, three big races, Monaco, Indy, Charlotte. But one potential benefit, Mara, could we see a Formula One driver think about doing the Indy 500? And now they don't have to miss a race because Monaco's a different weekend. Last time we saw an F1 driver do that, Fernando Alonso, he had to miss Monaco. Of course, Jenson Button substituted for him. Now, nobody could do it because you will miss the Monaco Grand Prix. But starting next year, it's going to be on a different weekend. Do you think it's a good idea to move Monaco out of the same weekend as the Indy 500? And with that move, do you think we'll see any F1 drivers attempt the Indy 500 2026 and beyond?
So I think that Formula One drivers are very curious to try something new. Like we saw last week with Max Verstappen that was testing cars at the Nürburgring. So I think that this gives them the possibility to do it, and they are probably very happy to. But at the same time, once you have your car in Formula One, it's really hard to go and compete in another series. Also because I think that Indy 500 requires some preparation, and I mean you need to be there, so you have to also to consider the flights and etc. So yes, it's a good thing. It opens up the possibility to. Many drivers will do it. I don't know.
You bring up a good point. All the practice sessions, this is the entire month of May. Formula One, of course, they will still have races going on in May. So it will be a challenge of, okay, going from Indianapolis back to the next race, back to the headquarters simulator, back to Indianapolis. That's a tall task, and I feel like the F1 drivers, they are curious to try other disciplines. I think the Indy 500, of course, everyone sees it as part of that Triple Crown with the Le Mans 24 hours and, of course, Monaco. I think Fernando Alonso might try it again just because he's won 2 out of the 3. He really will get the Indy 500 win, be the second driver to ever do that besides Graham Hill. And then McLaren, depending on who their drivers are, if they're interested, I could see Zach Brown trying to make it work, but not at sacrificing a championship. And I'm really curious about Andretti Cadillac next year when they come in. There's rumors Sergio Perez could be a driver for that team. He's not going to be a championship contender. That first year, I think it's going to be a struggle. I wouldn't be surprised if Andretti says, hey, how about this? You could do the Indy 500, and then you still get to do Monaco if you want. I don't know if Sergio Perez will take that or not, but of course this is all hypothetical, but it'll be really interesting.
You need to compete in both.
Yeah, compete in both. And
you need to compete in both series to have the possibility to have a race in Indy 500, because that was McLaren.
Yes.
For Fernando Alonso's case. So Cadillac may give an opportunity to his drivers to do so. Why not?
Yeah, so it'll be interesting to see what happens. So if we could get more F1 drivers into the Indy 500, I'll be excited. Am I going to miss having all 3 races on the same day? Yes, but heck, just the way it goes. And if we could get more international drivers in the Indianapolis 500, I say it's worth the change. So very interested to see what happens. And of course, with that said, Mara, it is time for pick a winner for Monaco. Of course, earlier today was MotoGP. Nobody picked Alex Marquez to win. Of course, everyone picked Marc Marquez, the brother to win. He did not, so nobody scored points. But here is the leaderboard. Matthew Bro still leads. Kiska still at 15th place because Mark Marquez did not score any points. Mara, when it comes to this weekend, Formula One, who do you think is going to win the Monaco Grand Prix?
So I would say Norris.
Lando
What about
Norris.
you?
I like the idea of Lando Norris. I'm thinking of going with Lando Norris. Yeah, I think I'll just go with Lando Norris. I mean, he's on the pole. I think he's going to have a good start and just even with the two-stop strategy everyone has to do, I don't see McLaren messing that up. If anything, I think Charles Leclerc might lose second place to Oscar Piastri, and I think it's just going to be cruise control up front. So Lando Norris will be my pick a winner for the race weekend. And of course, a busy race weekend. This is the first show of the weekend. Later on, we're going to have Sunday morning, the Indianapolis 500 pre-race show. Alex Palou, Kyle Larson, Joseph Newgarden, and Pato O'Ward all trying to win the Indy 500. And of course, Joseph Newgarden has that big penalty starting from the back row in 32nd position. After the Indianapolis 500, we will be on the air again to preview the NASCAR race. We're going to be previewing what's going to happen at Charlotte, the Coca-Cola 600, the longest race of the year. So do not miss that. We're going to be giving an update on Kyle Larson as well on how his Indy 500 race went and go from there. In the chat room, Adam, he is going with Lando Norris, so he agrees with us, Mara, that it's going to be a Lando Norris victory at Monaco. The pole sitter has won so many times from Monaco. It's going to be really interesting to see how this race all plays out with the new strategy, potential safety cars, virtual safety cars, and so on. So with that said, that does everything for our show today. A big thank you to our Patreon investors, Colin Michelle, Mark, Robin, David, Matthew for investing in us each and every month, plus all the people that give us super chats. We thank everyone for the super chats in the last Grid Tonight episode. And of course, definitely a big thank you to our Grid Network team. I know Nicole Fry, technical difficulties, unable to join us today, but we appreciate everyone here at the Grid Network. Mara, great to see you again as well. For Mara, I'm
Thank
Joe.
you.
Thank you for watching. We'll see you next time and enjoy the races.